Okay, this is exclusively for the Liquidity Network Plus members and those of you that are inside of my own community as well. Now, guys, I'm going to break down how we caught this GBP USD move and what you should have been looking out for. Now, this move was called inside of the Discord, okay, quite some time ago now. When I say quite some time ago, I literally mean on Tuesday. It's only Thursday, so 2 days ago. Now, I gave all of you the setup, okay, which was around here. Okay. Now, on this day, we did have some CPI news that came out for the dollar. And essentially, whenever you are looking at the market, you want to anticipate any sort of manipulation of the highs or manipulation of the lows, right? Now, I can see here that once we started to sweep that high there, we had a session to play into, and I was then looking inside of this hourly candle's wick for an entry, right? Because I had the understanding, okay, that the DXY had a higher probability of heading up higher, okay, especially when we move over to the daily picture. Okay, on the daily picture, we swept Thursday, 8th of January's low. Okay, we played into this daily bit of imbalance and we were forming bullish price action, right? So in that in mind, I now understood from looking at the prior week and the prior day that there was a higher probability that this was most likely going to continue. Now on the flip side, when we do look at the DXY, if you look inside of this box here, right, this is just an indicator that you can have on your trading view, right? It's called Lux Algo Sessions if you guys want to add it. This essentially highlights the sessions for me inside of a box, right? Now I can see this is Tokyo sessions range, and there is a entry model using the Tokyo session range, which I do explain in quite some detail, sorry. Now we can see here that we dipped that low there on the DXY as well. Now time and price is very important. The time in which we did that was of course at New York Open. It was also in and around the time when we had the CPI news driver as well, which is a catalyst for some manipulation, right? So once price went lower, we started to reject higher. Now, once we were sitting inside this area, I then understood that, hey, there's a higher probability of this heading up higher, aka the DXY, which means there's a good probability that GU should be dropping down lower. Now, there are many ways you could have entered this, right? You could have used a break and retest, you could have used imbalance. However, I was playing off of the session candle that I showed you earlier on the hourly. Now, all I did was anticipate any breaks, okay, on the lower time frame, as we can see here, and waiting to see signs of rejection to the downside. Now I noticed this 1 minute imbalance and we can see that price held this area quite well. It did hold for quite some time before we finally decided to head for the lows, which was close to an hour later, right? But as soon as we broke that low, we hit TP1. I understood that we were in for a good time, right? From there on, you can see that price literally just fell out. We hit TP1 and 2 and I believe TP3 as well. Now, whenever market does make a move, you need to anticipate a pullback. Market moves in W's, V's, and M shapes. So here's a V here. Here's a W here. Okay, it moves in W's, V's, and M shapes. Okay, so we understand that whenever price goes up, it will pull back before continuing. If it drops, it will pull back before continuing. Now, as you can see here, okay, if I head over, I believe it was the 15-minute time frame, if my memory serves me right, we had a little bit of imbalance inside of here. Now, that is exactly where market reversed to. We created, right? Notice how we create a similar picture to what we had up here, right? We had these highs left, okay? Once market swept it, we then headed down lower on that day, right? Notice how we also held that 15-minute imbalance. Let me pause this, right? That was the high of the day. Okay, we held that 15-minute imbalance, and what I want you guys to understand that this is not random. This is all purposeful. There's a reason why a market headed up into that area before rejecting, right? Then come today, we also had another Tokyo session play, and we eventually just completely melted, and this is where we're currently sitting, right? So to summarize, we had a higher time frame objective, we had confluences with the DXY, okay? So let me explain the higher time frame confluence with the with GU. So GU here we can see a high, high low, high high. What did we do when we came down here? We broke beneath this high low, and aka we're just anticipating a pullback. And what can we see here on the daily? We can see a little bit of an imbalance. Now, when price was around here Friday and Monday, all I was anticipating is what were we going to do inside this imbalance? There's a very good probability that we're going to reject lower. And now that we've created a new leg lower, which is a lower low, we can anticipate to see if we can get a pullback and then, continuation of this current bearish trend on the daily time frame. Okay. Now, I don't want this video to be entirely too long, because it will be difficult to um, keep up to pace with those of you that are not inside of the LTN. So if you guys have any questions, you can put it inside the forum or inside of the comment section down below, and I will see you guys for another breakdown.